Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today is the auspicious day of Vaman Dvadasi, appearance day of Lord Vaman. And we seek the blessings of Vamanadeva, Radha Krishna, Krishna Balaram, Bhagavad, Vanita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So this is a verse in the Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 18th chapter, 12th verse.
Yattvapurpati vibhushanayudet avyaktachidyaktam adarayadvari babhuvatenaiva savamanovatu sampashyoto divyagati yathanatha. Translation: The Lord appeared in his original form with ornaments and weapons in his hands. Although this ever-existing form is not visible in the material world, he nonetheless appeared in this form. Then, in the presence of his father and mother, he assumed the form of Vaman, a Brahman dwarf, a brahmachari, just like a theatrical actor.
Very interesting verse. It describes the appearance of Lord Vaman. After Nrsimhadev defeated Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad was crowned the emperor. Prahlad was very peaceful. When he renounced the kingdom, his son Virochan became the king. And the hatred between the demigods and demons arose again. Although Virochan was a devotee, yet he wasn't at the same standard as Prahlad. So this conflict again rose. Blessed with the dazzling golden crown, a boon from the sun god, Virochan became arrogant and offensive towards the demigods. Virochan had received the benediction that he could not be killed as long as he wore the crown. Knowing this, the demigods conspired against him. Disguised as sages, they entreated him. And the generous Virochan vowed to grant their wish. They begged for his crown. Even though Virochan recognized the demigod's plot, true to his word, he parted with his crown and his life as well. So Virochan was really magnanimous personality. This deceit enraged the son of Virochan, that is the great Maharaj Bali, who waged a war against the demigods. Initially defeated but by the mercy of his guru, Sukaracharya, Bali then heavily defeated Indra, the king of the demigods, who consulted his spiritual teacher. So Indra asked Brihaspati, even those who are evil may achieve temporary success, says his guru. Because of his penance and charity, Bali has become extremely powerful. Don't try to resist him at the moment. This is really good advice. Sometimes we think, let's deal with the situation, but sometimes it's just not right time to deal with it. You have to wait until the right time. Taking their guru's advice, the demigods retreated, giving up their kingdoms and taking refuge in the lower planets. Bali moved into Indra's palace and began to rule the universe. So he took over the kingdom of heaven. Indra's mother, Aditi, felt sorry for her sons. She appealed to the Lord Vishnu, for help and see her power. In response, the Lord agreed to become her son. He entered her womb and in due course took birth, appearing in a blackish form with 4 arms, dressed in yellow garments. Soon after this, he changed his form into that of a Brahman boy called Vaman. So initially he appeared as Vishnu, but then he changed his appearance. He appeared to be a student priest wearing a deerskin sacred thread, carrying a staff umbrella and a water pot. So there you go. This is his original form. Then he changes his form into Vaman. And it's not that Vaman form is an illusion. It actually exists. This is the form which is eternally there in the spiritual kingdom. The form of Vamanadeva, beautiful Brahman boy. Vaman made his way to the palace of Bali. So we've not covered how all the demigods come before Vamana and give him various gifts. But that is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Beautiful description of how the demigods are so happy when they see him and they give him so many wonderful gifts. And he becomes very happy. Vaman made his way then to the palace of Bali. Just at that moment, the king was preparing for a religious ceremony. Lord Vaman shone so brightly as he entered the arena that the priests thought that the sun god himself had arrived. King Bali became jubilant upon the sight of the beautiful boy. He welcomed him and offered him a seat. Having worshipped him by bathing his feet, he said, "It is customary that a king gives charity to the Brahmins. What may I give you? You can take anything you want: food, cows, horses, elephants, chariots, houses, villages, gold, whatever your heart desires." So Bali Maharaj, in the line of his father, Virochan, and his grandfather, Prahlad, was very generous. And he said to the Brahmin boy, "What do you want?" "O king of the demons," Vaman replied, "I only ask for 3 paces of your majesty's land, measured by my own footsteps." King Bali was taken aback. "Is that all? I can give you a planet, give you anything you want. You just want 3 steps of land, and these are your 3 steps, and you're only a little boy?" So Vamanadeva replies, "A Brahmin should not ask more than what he needs. I only need enough land upon which to sleep." The king shook his head in disbelief. "My dear Vaman, although you're very learned, you're only a boy. Therefore, you're not so intelligent and don't know what's best for you. Take this opportunity. I could easily give you an entire planet." "Thank you," Lord Vaman replied. "However, only one who is not greedy and content with whatever God provides is truly happy. And we know this. When we want more and more and more, and we know we're not going to get it, or we don't get it, we become frustrated and unhappy. If I were not happy with 3 paces of land, I'd also be dissatisfied with an entire planet." Very important point. If I didn't own a planet, then surely I'd want another one and another. A person unable to control his greed cannot be happy even if he owns the universe. Therefore, all I ask of you is 3 paces of land. These are good instructions, actually. Very good instructions. So Sukracharya, however, he warned Bali. "The boy is Vishnu himself. He'll take everything from you." And then he also said to Bali, "Look, I'm your guru. I can tell you, you don't have to fulfill that promise you just made because you have not uttered the Omkar yet. So your promise is not final. You can revoke it." And he gave a few other reasons as well as to why he does not have to keep his word to Vaman. But Bali was not prepared to go back on his word. He knew Mother Earth cannot bear the weight of a dishonest person. Now that the Lord himself had come to his door, how could he go against the supreme will? So Bali Maharaj, he knew, okay, this might be the Supreme Lord. He'll take everything. What to do? At least he's taking it, and I'm giving it. Though not abiding by his guru's order would ordinarily be an offense, Bali rejected his guru's advice because it contradicted with the principle of satisfying the Lord. He cited the example of great souls who sacrifice their lives for others. After all, death takes away everything, so why be attached to one's possessions? On hearing this, Sukracharya condemned his disobedient disciple to lose all his wealth. "I curse you to lose everything." That did not disturb Bali. This is Sukracharya advising him. Bali is very strong. All right, the king reluctantly agreed. Take whatever you like. Go ahead, pace out your 3 steps of land. Lord Vamanadeva began to grow and grow. With his first step, he covered half the universe. Second step, he crossed beyond the heavenly planets. His big toes pierced the covering at the edge of the universe. Not a square inch of land remained for his third step. Interesting, when he pierced this hole is when Mother Ganga washed the toe of Lord Vishnu and then flowed down eventually. So this is why Ganga is so powerful, so revered. So his toe pierced right across the covering of the universe. All these coverings, which are huge. Each covering is 10 times more than the previous. You can see how big his toe is. Returning to his original size, Vaman said, "O king, you own land throughout the universe as far as the sun, moon, and stars. With 2 paces, I've taken it all from you. But remember, you promised me 3 steps of land." So the Lord had him arrested, failing to keep the promise. Bali was perplexed. How could he keep his promise? The king realized it was Lord Vishnu himself who had appeared as a dwarf simply to cheat him. Yeah, this is an amazing picture, painting, because this is Prahlad Maharaj. He's come. He's happy with Bali. He's given everything to Vaman. The king replied, "O Lord, you're always good. Whether you punish or you reward, you appear to be my enemy. For you, side me with the demigods. But actually, you are my true friend, helping me understand how this life and any possessions are temporary." So when reverses take place in our life, which they do often, and invariably it will happen, we take that as the mercy of the Lord. Thank you, my dear Lord. You made me a little bit more detached from this world. It's a good thing. Nothing in this world escapes the ravages of time. You have taken all my wealth. But still, I have myself. Please place your 3rd step on my head. Atma Nivedanam. He's surrendered himself completely to the Lord. At that moment, Bali's wife, Vidyavali, stepped forward and addressed the Brahmin boy. "Lord Vaman, foolish men think they own something, but in reality, everything belongs to you. Though my husband is offering you his body, he does not realize that it is on loan from you. Please forgive his foolishness." See the intelligence of Mataji's. Bali saying, "You can step on my head." And his wife is coming forward saying, "It's not your head anyway." It's the Lord's. Incredible. What an amazing realization that she has. Lord Vaman was gently smiling and replied, "My dear queen, your husband has greatly pleased me. Determined to give me everything, he kept nothing for himself. By his full surrender, he has proven to be my pure, true devotee. For this, you shall both live on the subterranean planet called Sutala. It is more opulent than even the celestial realms." So these are the lower planetary systems. And there he's been given a residence. And they are more opulent than the heavens. The Lord also protects Bali on the Sutala with his disc. And he said that Bali can see him anytime he wants, as he would become his gatekeeper. So Vamanadeva has become subordinate to his own devotee. He's been conquered by the love of his devotee. And this is Sutala here, one of the lower planetary systems. So to understand these lower planetary systems, it's interesting how to compare them with the higher planetary systems. Here, usually, those who have great intense desire for material enjoyment end up They are pious, but they also have great. Actually, they can be demoniac, and somehow they are given facility to enjoy. So, and their enjoyment can be greater than the Swalok. After this incident, the demigods defeated the demons and recaptured the heavenly planets. Since that time, King Bali has become famous as one who surrendered everything, including himself, to the service of the Lord. Bali Raraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. So Vamanadeva ki jai. Anything you want to add? So this is the pastime of Lord Vamanadeva, today's appearance day. Nice to remember him. Very sweet personality of Godhead. Anybody, any comments or any questions? Nani Ben, anything you like to ask?
Yes, there are two things. One is I've got a great respect for Bali Maharaj. Yes, ever since we first knew about he's one of the 12 Mahajans.
Yes.
Huge respect for him. And the second thing is, the layers of this universe, there's 7 layers, isn't it? And each one is 10 times bigger than the. What is the physical characteristics? Are they what they say, like earth,
yes,
water, fire, ether?
Exactly right. And I think one time we went through each characteristic and what is in these different things. There's different palaces. It's like when the idea is that Earth, not Earth, this universe is huge, right? But this component of Earth here is 10 times bigger than the universe. So this is not representative of the size.
Yes.
And then 10 times Earth is water, and so on, it's huge. And what the soul does when it leaves the body and is eligible to go to the spiritual, it passes through all these different layers. And if the soul becomes attracted to anything, because it can, there's great opulence in all of these different layers, living opulence and beautiful creatures, etc., etc. If the soul becomes attracted, he comes immediately into that area. He cannot go to the spiritual world. So this is another test for the Atma. When he's leaving the spiritual world, there's another test he goes through when he goes through all of these different layers. But yeah, each one has his own deity. Each one has living entities who live there very happily, temporarily, of course. They worship the Lord every day. They may not attain the spiritual world after their death because the opulence here is so great. They're attached to that opulence.
So when it's water, it doesn't always mean water physically. Is that what you're saying?
It does mean water, but it is a way of living in that water, which is very opulent. Yeah.
So what would be a thing like false ego?
That's a good question.
Not false. Ether is air. Ether is.
Yeah. False ego will be connected to the intelligence more. It's something that's not visible to the naked eye. But again, it will be something which is extremely enjoyable to be within that layer, the great opulence. But I can't actually necessarily put my head around what is in that false ego. That would be so attractive. But I suspect it's something that you can think of something and it'll appear. Something like that. You don't have, there's no separate endeavor. It will just have, whatever enjoyment you want, it just happens, comes.
And there are living entities in there.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's populated by living entities.
Oh.
Yes. Those who become trapped in their enjoyment.
Yeah, possibly those who are souls who are going up, but they get trapped. So they'll stay there.
Yeah. Highly elevated souls, yes. but trapped because they got tempted by the enjoyment in that layer.
Okay, all right. Okay, Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you for, you really like to analyze it. So thank you so much for that. Huh? I appreciate that. Okay, anything else? Otherwise we can stop. Let's make a stop here.